I'm warning you.
What do I call you, by the way, Mr. Clown?
I've got a gun. You've got to show me respect.
Fair enough. I'll call you Mr. Garfield.
Welcome to the Press Gang Readers' Commentaries, deep dives into a series that combine talents of dependable industry veterans behind the camera. Producers Lewis Rudd and Sandra Hasty, directors Bob Spears and Lorne McGorry, editor Jeff Hogg, DOP James Davis and casting director Liz England, with fresh young faces in front. Julia Sawalha, Dexter Fletcher, Lee Ross, Kelda Holmes, Mmolki Chrystie, Paul Reynolds, and some wee curly bop named Stephen Moffat. This essay is about Series 3, Episode 4, The Last Word. I try and keep it spoiler-free until we directly get to those sort of reveals. But look, it's been more than 35 years and analysis is disclosure. For my generosity, you can like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, which is the only way to teach that stupid KD algorithm. The Last Word is frequently regarded amongst the show's top 5, among television's top moments. Certainly in the show, it's up there with an office block falling on Spike and the episode of advocacy for survivors of child abuse. Just like Something Terrible in part 1 of each, it's Press Gang at its most roaringly funniest, yet simultaneously it's most tear-jerking, it's most goosebumpy.
Why did the gunman choose the offices at the Junior Gazette?
Still unknown is the name of the Gazette staff worker shot and killed in today's siege.
The opening flash forward of news montage sets a fatalistic tone. Flash prologue, dramatic license taken with the clown walking through the streets. Peter Davis's jaunty jingles for the children watching, yet sustaining the eeriness. No undercutting of those shocking first lines.
We might also recognise one of the reporters at the beginning of the first part of this as Emma Forbes, who was still presenting Going Live on Saturday mornings on the BBC at the time.
Male reporter is anchor Mark Anstey. Few TV roles, but at the time core cast in drama series Wish Me Luck as a refugee from the Nazis in occupied France. Much later on, we'll also see Sally McLaren in there, a newscaster in 3 of her 4 IMDb credits, the others being the rebooted Tomorrow People and Surgical Spirit featuring Leroy Beresford. More significantly, she was an in-vision continuity announcer for Thames and TBS. This gives her performance an edge, as we could read her or Forbes as playing themselves. The inclusion of Forbes, McLaren, Anstey and others compound a sense of the adult world with its accompanying bloodiness invading this friendly little afternoon show. The return of the chalked on the ground silhouette, a resonant image from How to Make a Killing, perhaps pointing to hints of an addiction in Donald Cooper's behaviour, and of course an empty newsroom, which we've seen before in Monday, Tuesday. In the present, cinematographer James Davis treats us to a tracking shot of the couple in parallel through the newsroom. Flirt time with Spike is the first of a few rolling joke pylons. It's great banter. Watching as a video essayist, Spike's defiance that their relationship is long over is a weak defence. She offered him a job and he came back to it last episode.
You and me, Spike, we're held together by a force even stronger than true love.
Which is?
We both want the last word.
Yeah, well, I don't have to answer that.
See what I mean?
Oh, she said the episode title. Julia Sawalha's Linda Day has discovered her sexuality. And of course, it's another tool in her ambitions for total power. At the least, it could make Matt Kerr compliant. The skirt plays into the script and the dialogue. There's a few jokes involving props that run through multiple episodes of the show, continuing references to Garfield, this time dismembered, leading to the introduction of Mr. Garfield. There's some missing financial records, which have been a fixture ever since the invention of pings in episode 3. Colin blatantly admitting he stole the books is a keeper. And that chat debuts one of my favourites, throwing the ashtray, a setup that pays off brilliantly in 3 episodes. Moffat packs it in establishing Junior Gazette normalcy. If Lee Ross had stayed, maybe we'd get more Kenny soliloquies. Lee Ross's brilliant acting chops are in spotlight when the clown appears. Director Lorne McGorry lets a shot hang on the gunman. Now he's got here, he's not sure what comes after this moment. Ross's expressions of fear are raw. The gunman picking on him is a really good way to write directly to us because it establishes a contrast. And Kenny is used this way throughout the 2-parter. He's very much the puppy dog of the office. So in a sense, Moffat is punching a puppy, and Fraz looks like he's staying still by default. Getting scared requires some effort, doesn't it? The dramatic beat of the first shot fired is crafted for its trajectory to cut through to the future. High stakes there impact upon the banter. The shattered mirror propels Spike and Linda's next round of bickering.
What am I going to use for a mirror now?
And it's also a prop plot. In part 2, the hostages stand directly in front of it. It acts as a metaphor, for the mirror is interrupted in its reflection of the lives of the news team. It could have been a deadlier foreboding when you consider one of the outcomes of this 2-parter could have been Spike's death. More on that in the essay on part 2.
This is the kind of thing that can make a girl insecure about her looks.
Yeah, well, what have I told you about smiling and reflective surfaces?
And who knows more than you?
Look, no talking, okay? Just shut up!
It's Spike and Linda's want to absorb themselves in each other that creates varied relationship bridges with the gunman, which drive the story forward, which make this more than a standard cheap threat plot. For a time, Spike getting in his face, trying to dominate his attempt to take control, and Linda is much more successful, seeming to have noticed right away how their sparring has exercised power over the situation. Power she can use to get through the mask. Linda and the gunman and control will be a theme going throughout this. The mask is accentuated eyebrows and eyes, one who sees all and is surprised. Supervillain mouth, iconic to this episode, yet also typical clown. Actor Christien Anholt is working so well within the mask, using its limits to expand the character's own emotional range. When we see him unmasked in part 2, he'll be at a very different part of that emotional journey. But for now, he can afford to be a very different Donald Cooper. From Cooper's appearance in the newsroom, the trademark humour has been rising with the tensions, and this falls away rapidly when Linda is directed to sit. Moffat and Sawalha play on what we know about Linda. In the context of the illusory circle, this is an entirely realistic response, one that's in character in this universe. Her iron rule over the news team extends to their improv decisions to go business as usual. It's very clearly the gunman and Linda vying for control. But this commotion is more than just distraction. It's part of that domination, now laying down the territory. Linda is showing that this is the chaos that she is in control of. She's explaining to him that she's in charge of all this. And there are plenty of reasons we digest the civil disobedience so easily. This is a very silly news team. They've indulged in mass purchases of half ping pong balls, made up the news a week in advance, gone on a prank spree of local shopkeepers, and voted for Colin Matthews as editor.
It is a silly place. Right.
And many of them have already trauma bonded. over a suicide, a gas explosion, dealing with the subject of child abuse, and a violent assault. With Linda re-establishing control, we see that when the chips are really down, here she knows exactly how to behave. For instance, Kenny innocently making a phone call. She reads how this cue will unsettle Cooper and wants to put him at ease. So Kenny is to get coffee, which leads to one of my favourite press gang dialogues.
What do you take?
Look, I'm in charge, okay?
What do you take?
Milk, no sugar.
We got milk?
There was a bottle in the fridge.
Hey, that's mine. I spat in it.
Yeah? I did too. And me. Me too.
Oh, I didn't, Spike. I didn't realise it was yours.
You guys really disgust me. Do you know that?
Oh, look on the bright side. That bottle's really lasted. It's true.
It's got a wonderful pace that bounces, flows organically, mercurially. More than anything, the last word puts me in mind of Justice League International, 1987 to 1991. I wonder, did Moffat read it? Not your average superhero comic book. A workplace comedy by writers Giffen and DeMatteis, and a roster of brilliant portraiture illustrators fronted by Kevin Maguire. It's totally similar to Press Gang, humour and drama on the same page, and both do rolling comedic pylons really well. Sam, it's time for the feature focus. I need graphics on Christien Anholt on my desk pronto. Sam! Penny, tell Sam to get in here right now or I'll have her shot. What do you mean she's moved to New York? I suppose that'll make it easier to do the shooting. Are those plane tickets you're holding up, Kenny? Chiswick B&Q Gardening Department Assistant Christien Anholt was not in that role for long. He received backing from really renowned figures in theatre and stage. Harold Pinter, for example, who would cast him in various things through the years. Pinter recommended him to playwright Ronald Harwood for casting alongside Albert Finney. In turn, Harwood recommended he be put with Mel Gibson in a cinematic version of Hamlet as Marcellus. He played the soldier Perkins in 3 episodes of Doctor Who classic, The Curse of Fenric, and then he turned 19. And Liz England cast him as Donald Cooper. The next year, Steven Spielberg picked him up for a role in his American Civil War drama, Class of 61. He performed in a BBC adaptation of my favourite novel by Dickens, Hard Times, playing opposite Alan Bates, Bob Peck and Richard E. Grant. All the while, Anholt's work was highly reviewed. At the 1997 Geneva Film Festival, he got a Best Actor nomination, and he kept busy on the West End. In 1999, he'd take a leading role with Tia Carrera in supernatural adventure series Relic Hunter. Anholt appeared in all 3 seasons as Nigel Bailey, a reserved English assistant the producers described as a younger Hugh Grant. Following his 66 episodes, Anholt continued to act on the stage, but less so in film. He would gravitate towards television, Adventure Inc., Flyboys, Ben 10, Holby City, Doctors. In 2017, Anholt went apparently viral in an apparently funny ad campaign for Dubai Properties, JBR. It's Not For Everyone was shot in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. The following year, he'd provide narration for 10 episodes of World's Greatest Palaces, which didn't feature Dubai. During the COVID pandemic, he joined local celebrities in Barnes, London, in Bedtime at Barnes, in support of OSO Art's Crisis Kitchen. Anholt can be found on YouTube reading The Owl and the Pussycat and Jabberwocky. From 2022, he's had a recurring role in BBC One's Mallory Towers, an updated version of Enid Blyton's stories set at a girls' boarding school. In The Last Word, Anholt makes for a wonderful tyrant, a figure of intensity, acted with strong physicality. While masked, his most powerful asset is his voice, snappish, judgmental, self-assured and self-echoing. Kelda Holmes has muscle in voice acting too, so her few lines, clarifying what she wrote about guns, are cautious but deliberate with weight. The journalistic conviction of earlier days merging with the last episode's narrative arc of maturity, which had cocoon-like qualities to it. Spike reasoning with Cooper is reflective of his own arc and draws some parallels between them. Coming from a background as a hard man, getting into fights, he's been on his own redemption arc and journey to rationality. He uses his street smarts to directly address Donal and where he's found himself, where both of them have found themselves. Also, good to see Spike and Linda on the same page.
And after all that, we seem to be out of milk.
Never mind. I'll just spit in it myself.
The group laugh is a little overplayed, but nonetheless sweet. It takes the characters to a place of comfort, but like any good writer, Moffat is a complete fucker, hard yanking the newsroom and audience against the cheese grater. The police presence turns comfort to danger. There's a little moment where it cuts to Linda, that little moment where the police have announced their presence, and editor Jeff Hogg cuts to Sawalha. There's anger in her eyes, part of Linda versus the world, a recurring theme, especially this story. Hugh Quarshie's D.I. Hibbert is a very important player, but in part one we don't spend time to know him properly. Moffat conceals Hibbert as just another of those media faces that recur that form up the feel of the future. He's not who we expect him to be. The cutaway comes in before the episode's big drama beat, reminding us of the loss of a life. Colin Nicholson is a sound mixer for this episode, still very active today in mixing sound for high-profile work. Craven the Hunter, Deadpool and Wolverine, the Trainspotting films, David Simon and Ed Burns' Generation Kill. Actually a phenomenal career. With Press Gang, Nicholson mixes almost all of Series 2, 3 and 4. Listen to this overlap between Hibbert and present-day Newsroom.
As was the way that the killer was able to escape from a building that you had entirely surrounded at the time.
Obviously, we are pursuing lines of inquiry into how this happened. It's not clear at this stage how it was possible.
And do you as yet have any clue to the identity of the killer?
Not at this stage, no.
Sound is used throughout to enhance environmental tension. The police loudhailer, the ringing phone which masks a winding of the alarm clock, and in linguistics, a patterned phrase.
Smart move. Ask me why.
Which recurs throughout Linda and Donal's wrestling for power.
And there's still a way out of this for you. Ask me how.
We get the Spike and Kenny mini-plot and hear muddled choices on visual storytelling look clunky in my eyes. The gunman aligned with the camera's POV following Kenny with the ticking alarm clock. It's not apparent from the direction or the cuts that Kenny uses the crowd to mask the placement of the clock and could have benefited from a few extra seconds to show his journey. It's also not quite clear why he grabs a pencil. Is it a contrivance to show young children a pencil is insufficient to overcome a firearm? It looks quite odd, like a ghost paragraph from an earlier draft of a script. There are intentionally muddy choices too. Spike concealing the baton up his sleeve near the cord from his headphones. And that's for us to believe that it might get tangled. Things might go wrong. Ticking clock. Things might go wrong. Colin's coming. Things will go wrong. We're so screwed.
Don't shoot, don't shoot. Colin?
There's something about Paul Reynolds just has me breaking down stitches. Great physical performance. Hands up as he volunteers for the big pitch. Colin is excellently utilised by Moffat in this episode. Card is a pretty obvious direction to go, assuming the position of an absent Matt Kerr is also in character. But Colin as negotiator, as PR spokesperson for multiple parties, is his employing self-awareness of his own strengths in sales. And maybe he cuts a representation deal with the gunman for full book and film rights. Inspired and clever choices. Anxious build up to the alarm clock going off. The action sequence is incredibly satisfying. Moffat subverts our expectations for some mostly negligible danger to Colin in terms of how we as an audience rationalise it. You won't kill Colin. Swapping that out for a genuine threat to Kenny. Oh my God, will he kill Kenny? A breathtaking moment that still scares me. Ooh, chills talking about it. The close-in on teary-eyed Lee Ross as Kenny contemplates a sudden violent death. I guess this is what Whovians mean by hiding behind a sofa. And that is probably how a generation learned the word interjection.
Can I just say, on behalf of everybody, I'm glad you didn't kill Kenny. That would have been one serious bummer. I'm sorry if I'm sounding emotional.
Colin's constant referral to the concept keeps his motivations straight and becomes a device for the first of many de-escalations of the crisis, which is fair, as he was responsible for drawing the police, the tout. TV presenter here, uncredited, has no lines. I like the little analogy Fraz makes between guns and lawnmowers. A one-line win for the no right to possess. Great delivery by Mmolki. In story terms, another sleight of hand because, spoiler, Fraz is not out of Moffat's danger. Gun enthusiast Trevor Hambley is played by Carl Rigg, veteran actor of stage and screen actually. Works included 111 episodes of Emmerdale Farm, Tom Baker Doctor Who serial The Power of Crawl, Life Force with John Benson's David Campbell, and Bond movie, The Living Daylights. Liz England always brings the goods.
So what happens now then?
According to the Press Gang programme guide, this originally went out Tuesday the 28th of May 1992 at 4:40 p.m, with part 2 airing 4th of June. I watched both parts on first transmission, and that was a long week. Some had it worse, as programme guide editor Jim Sangster explains.
The last word is a funny one. A friend of mine used to exchange tapes with friends in the States. So they'd send over like the X-Files or the latest Star Trek or whatever, and he'd send over whichever British shows they were into. And with Doctor Who finishing, he thought, I'm going to tempt you with this show that we've got into called Press Gang. And he sent over a load of tapes, and they sent back messages saying, oh, we love them. And then they got to the end of the last tape he'd sent them, and he sent them the last word, part 1. And then he got this frantic phone call. Where's part 2? We need part 2. By that point, I think these must have been the first people outside of the UK who became instant Press Gang fans. And it's all because of a very cruel trick that he played on them. The last word it really is the high point of the series. It's the whole series. It's the best two-parter. It's another situation where real-world concerns are invading this silly little kid show, and the silly little kid show stands on its own 2 feet. We've already had a gun episode with Monday, Tuesday in Series 1, and this plays out as kind of sequel, and it also plays out about as successfully for the gun owner as it did in the previous episode. But Linda appears to have learned a bit in terms of how to play the situation, and her negotiation strategies are excellent. You know, she's always ahead of the game, and it's only when other people get involved that it falls apart and she then has to re-strategize. But her initial thought of how to get through this is absolutely solid, and it's how she keeps them all alive in the end.
Each episode, I tot up the ways in which phones are used to direct and move press gang story. While a hostage, Kenny almost makes a phone call. It's a beat, but I feel doesn't really qualify as a plot point. The police call. It ramps up the dramatic stakes considerably.
We're keeping this line open. You just have to lift the phone to speak.
Colin's entrance is foreshadowed.
No one's hurt. Just stay where you are, okay?
Linda, listen.
Linda reassures the police because a phone conversation is a qualifier rather than needing to be a call. Thanks to animator Jim Sangster on YouTube at Doctor Who Novels with the podcast and tunes Doctor Who Literature. Thanks to me because, frankly, I'm brilliant, as are all my patrons who give me money, which is their way of valuing my video essay concept. You can do that, getting everything for £1 sterling. I know, not economically viable. Or can I just make another interjection? You can like and comment on this video. Go on, show us some power dress. Next time we look in more depth at Hugh Chrystie as Inspector Hibbert and a very rich trove of background details.